Good Monday to you, Tennessee Valley. Hope you're having a good start to your day. Well, we got changes on the way. Last week was pretty calm, but now we are talking strong winds on the way. Again, that's going to be tomorrow night into Wednesday. But first, let's talk a little bit about today. Going to be another dry one. Again, as we take a look at your satellite and radar, we can zoom way out. There's not a whole lot of active weather across the lower 48. A couple of light showers in the Louisiana and Mississippi, but generally high pressure controlling. Very dry once again. Temperatures as of, 7:45, still in the low 20s in Cleveland and Athens. So it's a cold start to this March morning, the 3rd of March, which is pretty standard. I mean, usually we get freezes all the way until the end of the month, even the beginning of April. Our latest freeze ever, just for reference, since I'm babbling, was April 25th here in Chattanooga, and that happened, I don't know when, I'd have to look at the data, I just remember that date. But as for your highs today, generally going to be in the upper 50s to lower 60s, so warmer than yesterday by about 10 degrees. Going to be pretty comfortable, but winds are going to be gusty, upwards of 20 miles per hour. Dew point's very low, so the air's dry. We have an ongoing drought, so you add all those things together, kind of compound those things. We're dealing with a high fire danger. So once again, special weather statements in effect for the Carolinas and all of North Georgia for a high fire danger. And you can see some of those wildfires ongoing. Of course, we had the Chestnut Mountain Fire in Murray County earlier. Well, no, that's actually was down on the Whitfield and Gordon County border. I'm not sure if that one's under control. I haven't looked, but we also have a few fires in Polk County. Big one over in Polk County, North Carolina. You can see a lot of smoke with this. Also Myrtle Beach dealing with some pretty big wildfires as well. So across the southeast, a lot of wildfires, a few prescribed burns going on. So if you can, just avoid burning. It's just way too dry to do so. You get a little spark, and it doesn't take long for this to become a raging wildfire. So let's take a look at your overall pattern trend. So this is the upper level charts. I like to show these because it gives us an idea of where the pattern's heading. This is going to be a strong system we have on our hands beginning tomorrow into Wednesday. Very wound up, tight, low pressure that's going to be moving in across the Great Lakes region. We're going to have a very strong pressure gradient. And when you have strong pressure gradients like this, where you see all those lines, that often means strong winds. That's what we're going to have. We'll also have the potential for some stronger storms. So this pattern is going to be relatively progressive. It does look like through, again, this is March 9th. You have some ridging building into the west coast. Still going to be cool and cloudy here for the rest of the week, maybe a few showers. But then things really start to take shape in a different direction by the middle of the month. We're going to have some strong ridging build here across much of the southeast and east coast where you see those orange colors, and that's going to lead to some above normal temperatures here across the Tennessee Valley while it's going to be a little bit cooler out west. So that's kind of how the pattern's trending. Going to be coolish this week, warmer by the middle of the month. But we are going to be in storm alert weather mode. That's our next big thing, and that's what I really want to talk to you about this morning. Tomorrow evening into Wednesday morning, we're going to be tracking a cold front. Again, that low pressure that's going to be to our north is going to be wound very tightly, going to be a dynamic system, and the pressure gradient is going to be really tight. So we're talking strong winds across a pretty good chunk of the country here. And this is going to be for our entire coverage area. So the overall severe threat with this, not going to be overwhelmingly high. It's going to be more about the non-thunderstorm strong winds. So let's track it all out using our in-house Barron model. So the rest of the day, not a lot to talk about. It's going to be breezy at times. But then by tomorrow morning, we have the clouds building in. There's that front. You got your low pressure. Again, strong low pressure, some heavy snow in parts of the central plains. This is going to progress very quickly off to the east. So along this main line, that's where you'll have the initial severe threat. But as it moves in our direction, it weakens a little bit. We're going to have some heavier rain. Again, the onset of the rain likely sometime between about 7 and 9 o'clock. That will continue for much of the evening. And then notice how quickly this moves. Again, the rain's pretty much done by about 2 o'clock. And then as we wake up on Wednesday, still going to be cloudy. Going to be some snow to the north. Again, heavy snow on the backside of this in places like Wisconsin, Canada, Iowa, even parts of Missouri. Then the strong storm threat starts to move into the Carolinas and up through the mid-Atlantic. But for us on Wednesday, things start to cool down a little bit temperature-wise, but it's still going to be very blustery throughout the day on Wednesday. So again, the severe threat with this not going to be overwhelmingly high. Tuesday evening into the overnight as this moves through, going to be a marginal risk for parts of Marion, Dade, Walker, Chattooga, Gordon counties, all the way down to Floyd County. Higher risk in the yellow. That's a level 2 out of 5 for parts of Jackson and DeKalb County. But as we zoom out, notice that highest risk for any severe weather going to be in places like Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and even West Tennessee. So that threat's kind of going to dwindle a little bit. And the tornado potential, pretty much non-existent for our area this go around, which is good news. That highest risk for any severe or any tornadoes will be in this yellow, brown, and green shade, which should stay just to our southwest. The good news for us, by Wednesday, that threat starts to shift off into the Carolinas along that frontal boundary. So for us, the severe threat associated with that line of storms is not going to be very high, but there's going to be a very powerful low-level jet. And the winds in the upper atmosphere are just going to be ramping up. Where you see these browns and pinks, that's the strongest winds. They'll be moving through beginning Tuesday evening. Strongest winds likely coming between about 8 o'clock Tuesday evening until, we'll say, 2 or 3 Wednesday morning. So you're going to hear that wind just blowing as this strong low-level jet moves through. Plus the surface winds are going to be very strong as well. Again, March is usually a pretty windy time of the year for us because we have these strong systems just moving across the country. Jet stream gets active, and this is exactly what we're going to see today. And the winds are going to stay pretty strong throughout the day on Wednesday, but they will relax to some degree, which will be good news. So here's a look at your surface gusts. Again, beginning Tuesday evening, we're talking, even in the afternoon, gusts upwards of 35 miles per hour. And look what happens by the time that main line of storms comes through. We're talking gusts upwards of almost 60 miles per hour for a pretty long period of time. I mean, even through 3 o'clock, we're still seeing these gusts. 5 o'clock, gust upwards of 45 in places like Murphy. And then throughout the day, still going to be gusting over 40 to maybe even 50 miles per hour in some of the higher elevations before finally starting to die down a little bit Wednesday night. So we're going to have a prolonged period of strong winds, and these are going to be gradient winds associated with the pressure gradient from this low pressure. So wind advisories already in effect for Middle Tennessee, Northeast Alabama, high wind watches for the East Tennessee mountains, and those wind advisories and high wind warnings go all the way to the Gulf Coast, back towards parts of Nebraska, winter storm watches on the northern end of this. So again, this is going to be a very strong dynamic system moving in our direction, with the wind being the primary concern here, because rainfall amounts not going to be overly impressive. I think most people will have a baseline about 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch. Heavier downpours could lead to maybe up to an inch. So no flooding threat here, no tornado threat. Wind, wind, wind. That's what it's going to be about with this system. And then on the backside of it, we could be talking some high elevation snow showers late Wednesday into Thursday, which again, not uncommon for this time of the year. It's a transition season, so we've gotten as much as 20 inches of snow in Chattanooga. We've also have had tornado outbreaks in the month of March, so you can get everything in between that. Warm temperatures in the 80s, cold temperatures down in the teens and 20s, and again, you have the severe weather, high winds, and then snow potential here. That's kind of what we're looking at. I'm not expecting anything here in the valley other than maybe a flake early on Thursday. It's possible just because it may be cold enough. But any accumulation should be confined to the Tennessee-North Carolina border. Maybe some light accumulations in Van Buren, parts of Grundy, Sequatchie County, up to a dusting. Can't completely be ruled out. But any accumulations of 1 to 3 inches going to be more likely in some of the higher elevations to our east. That's kind of what we're looking at here. So keeping this video somewhat manageable. Again, there will be more to talk about in the coming days, but it is Monday. I don't want to keep you too long. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. Breezy on Monday, windy tomorrow evening throughout the day on Wednesday. The strongest winds Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. Again, that line of storms not going to have too much in the way of severe weather. This is going to be more of a wind threat. So I'm anticipating power outages as we wake up Wednesday. Mountain and plateau flurries on Thursday, and then this weekend could have a few rounds of light showers, but all in all looks pretty dry with temperatures in the 50s and 60s. So we'll keep you updated as this storm system moves in our neck of the woods. Stay safe and do what you can to enjoy your week.